It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and welcome to November 1990. We're looking at November 2nd, and we've got 6 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. And who says you need to make horror movies before Halloween? This one just came a couple days after Halloween, and it's probably one of the most underrated horror movies ever made. It's Jacob's Ladder, starring Tim Robbins and directed by Adrian Lyne of Fatal Attraction fame.
Jacob's singer is afraid. When he walks down the street, people are watching. When he comes home at night, people are waiting. Jacob's singer is running out of time. This fall, Adrian Lyne, the director of Fatal Attraction, brings us a disturbing new vision. Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, this is a very underrated movie. I mean, when it came out, it was a hit on its opening weekend. It actually opened at number 1 at the box office, but it quickly dropped at the box office, and it barely made back its budget of $25 million at $26.1 million. But I don't care, man. This is a fantastic movie. It's a really good psychological horror thriller. I mean, the visuals that are in this movie are genuinely still terrifying after all these years. The premise is very good. Tim Robbins does a fantastic job in here, playing this post-war. He was in Vietnam, and he keeps having these post-traumatic. He has PTSD kind of, and he has these strange, weird visions and hallucinations that still look terrifying even to this very day. Like, over 30 years later, these special effects still hold up very well. And it's a great movie overall. I think all the performances here are very good. You have Elizabeth Pena in here, Danny Aiello, Jason Alexander, a young Macaulay Culkin just before he was about to have his big success a couple weeks from now. But, yeah, this movie still holds up to this very day. It's very tense, very chilling, very horrifying. And it's written by Bruce Joel Rubin, who won the Oscar for writing Ghost. And it's just a very good movie all around. It's a very good psychological horror thriller that has these creepy visuals that just mess with your brain every time you finish watching it. It still holds up with you. It still holds up very well as time has gone on. It's a very good movie. I'd say definitely check it out if you haven't seen it already, because it's definitely worth a watch. Jacob's Ladder is a fantastic movie. And maybe underrated is kind of an understatement, but I know that the movie was considered somewhat of a minor disappointment financially, but the movie's fantastic either way. If you want a good psychological horror thriller, Jacob's Ladder is definitely worth the watch. It's a lot better than Fatal Attraction, honestly, so that's my thoughts on Jacob's Ladder. Let's go to another movie that was seen as some might say it's an underrated movie, but I don't know. It's Prince's Graffiti Bridge.
George's place pulled 17,000. We made our usual 35, and the kid made $1,500. $1,500? We got to make more money. The king has arrived. Guess who the queen is? The kid. You and your crew can whoop ours. You take the club, lock, keys, and all. The king. How do you want to die? Bad blood. I want my money, or this joint is mine. Hot Stellas. In a story the way only Prince could tell it.
Honey boy.
With music.
Love come quick. Love come in a hurry.
Graffiti Bridge.
In the temple tonight.
I cook young brothers like you and spit out the seeds. Prince. Morris Day. Jerome Benton. And the time. Mavis Staples.
George Clinton, Ingrid Chavez, Tevin Campbell, and Prince. Graffiti Bridge.
Yeah, just more proof that Purple Rain was that once-in-a-generation, lightning in a bottle type of moment. Because when that came out in '84, that was like a monster success. It was like a global phenomenon. And every movie since then, Under the Cherry Moon and then Graffiti Bridge, just didn't work out really well. And you can see why in this movie. I mean, maybe there could have been something here, but it's just not written well. Like, it doesn't really have that staying power that Purple Rain does. So Purple Rain still holds up very much to this day, and maybe there are some Prince fans that still like the movies he did afterwards, but for me personally, it just didn't work. It's like this and Under the Cherry Moon really didn't work all that well, because I felt like they were trying too hard to copy the success of Purple Rain instead of trying something new, trying something different. And this is supposed to be a standalone sequel to Purple Rain, but I really couldn't tell the difference. I mean, honestly, this movie really... It's one of those ambitious failures where it's trying really hard, but it just doesn't know how to make it stand out alone. I mean, it tries way too hard to be the next Purple Rain, and it doesn't work all that well. Soundtrack's great. I mean, the soundtrack outsold the movie, honestly. It has more of a longevity than the actual movie does, but that doesn't really say much. I mean, yeah, Prince is a great rock musician, but this movie just proves that Purple Rain was that once-in-a-lifetime thing that he's not really going to ever... he could never really try to copy, but... So that's my thoughts on Graffiti Bridge. It's a movie that doesn't really work all around, despite a decent cast to it, but it just doesn't have that same spark and magnetism that something like Purple Rain did. I mean, like I said, some Prince fans might like it, but yeah, overall, I didn't really enjoy it all that much. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is...
America in 1962. It was a time of change. But in the North Country, everything stayed the same. Until the Harris family came to town.
Oh, she survived. She's slightly delicate.
Shirley McClaine.
Now that's what I call a miracle.
And Teri Garr.
You'll find there's a lot of things that Aunt C calls miracles.
Waiting for the Light.
Waiting for the Light, which stars Shirley MacLaine, Teri Garr. It also has Clancy Brown and Vincent Chiavelli. But, I don't know. Judging from this trailer, there wasn't... Judging from the trailer, I don't think there really is a whole lot there story-wise to make this work. I think this is a movie that's just going solely off the performances of McClaine and Garr, who have proven that they can be very good in good material. But when you look at this movie, there really isn't a whole lot there, in the trailer at least, that sounds promising. And the movie doesn't really have much of a cult following with it. So, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those movies where it does have that little cult following, but I don't hear anybody ever talking about it all that much. I can't really comment on it because I haven't seen it, but that trailer doesn't really give me a whole lot of promise for it. So, that's Waiting for the Light. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Roger Corman's Frankenstein Unbound.
30 years ago, Roger Corman began to explore the dark side of the American psyche. With movies like The Undead, The Pit and the Pendulum, and the original Little Shop of Horrors. Now, he feels the world is ready for the greatest horror story ever told, as it's never been told before. Frankenstein Unbound, starring John Hurt, Raul Julia, and Bridget Fonda, directed by Roger Corman.
Well, I'll give Roger Corman this. This is a much bigger budgeted movie than I'm used to seeing from him, and from the looks of the trailer, it definitely looks like he's going for more of a standard movie, of a standard bigger budgeted movie, because you've got a really good cast here: John Hurt, Raul Julia, Bridget Fonda, Jason Patric, Michael Hutchinson from InXS, and you have a cool concept here, doing a futuristic version of Frankenstein. I mean, it could be good. It could be really interesting. Like, this could be something where it's still very much a Roger Corman movie, but it's not like the cheesy, corny Roger Corman movies that we've gotten from the past. But I can't really comment on it because I haven't seen it. But I mean, the trailer and even the poster for this looks really promising too. The poster is just this eye that looks like it has all these different pieces coming into his eye. Like he has like different colored eye colors to him, and that's a cool little image there. So I don't know, maybe this actually might have something more than I would have ever gotten from it, judging from the title, but I don't know, I'm kind of curious to check it out. Frankenstein Unbound. Let me know if you've seen it, if it's any good. I'm kind of curious to check it out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Robert Altman's Vincent and Theo.
£2.5 million last time, and £22.5 million, and 22
Today, it's priceless.
£500,000 for the last time.
But a century ago, Van Gogh's own brother could not sell his work.
You always have to go so far on principle, Vincent. I think if you do something, you should do it properly, don't you?
Two Van Goghs with one obsession.
You sell them, you don't paint them?
My brother is a painter. That's one of his there.
Each living for Vincent's art.
I'm coming to Paris. I really don't think you're ready. Oh, when do you think I'm ready? I don't know. Never, probably.
One devoted to it.
So aggravating. Working for people who only care about money. You see, I have my own tastes, and I have to be my own man.
The other consumed by it. Both prepared to sacrifice everything.
You'd better marry a rich wife.
For the creations that would outlive them.
That's the only hope for an artist.
To become the most valuable artworks of all time.
What are you actually doing to sell my paintings? You don't tell me what my job is! And don't you tell me there's no market for my work!
Critically acclaimed director Robert Altman brings to the screen an extraordinary exploration of two kinds of genius. One called Vincent, one called Theo. Both named Van Gogh. A portrait by Robert Altman.
Vincent and Theo was actually shot as a 4-hour miniseries, which is actually 200 minutes in length. But they actually released a version of it that's only about a little over 2 hours and 28 minutes. I take that back, 2 hours and 18 minutes. 138 minutes is 2 hours and 18 minutes. But either way you look at it, this is a pretty good movie. I mean, Tim Roth and Paul Rees, Paul R-H-Y-S. I'm just reading it from here, and for some reason I keep thinking it's either Rice or Reese, but I think it's Paul Rice. If it's not, please let me know. But yeah, this is a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie based on talking about the story of Vincent Van Gogh and his brother, and it looks pretty. It is a really good movie. I like the visual look of the film. I like the music. I like Roth and Reese's performances. The writing overall is very good, and I think that it does keep your interest all the way through. It's definitely one of Robert Altman's more underrated movies. I don't know where it's marked in terms of his greatest movies. I don't think a lot of people really talk about it. I think when you think of Robert Altman, you think of stuff like, MASH, Popeye, Gosford Park. I know those are some other ones here. I'm trying to think for a second. McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Nashville. I've actually got the list here. I'm trying to see here because I know there's more. The Player, his next movie is a great Robert Altman movie. Shortcuts is a great movie. He's got a lot of great movies to his name to it. Even did Tanner 88, the miniseries where they had during the 1988 presidential election, they had a candidate played by Michael Murphy running for president along with Ronald Reagan and George Bush. George Bush and Dukakis. I'm getting all tangled up here, but yeah, like I said, Vincent Theo, it's a very good movie. It's definitely one of his more underrated films as a director. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I'd say it's definitely worth it if you want to see some of the best of Robert Altman's work. So, that's Vincent and Theo. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is C'est La Vie.
Heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight. Out of the mist, your voice is calling. It's twilight. End of day, I'll hear you, my dear, at twilight time. Evening shadows
C'est La Vie is, of course, a French phrase for "that's life," but it's interesting that this has a different title in French. It's called La Boule des Pins, and I can't really comment on this because I haven't seen the movie, but it was hard to find footage for this actually, so I just took a little bit from the trailer there. I mean, it does look like your typical French drama, but could be a good French drama. I mean, I haven't heard too many good things about. I haven't heard too much about it, I should say. But I mean, yeah, it could be good, but like I said, I haven't heard too much about it, so I can't really comment on it. But wanted to talk about it because it came out this weekend. So, C'est La Vie. So with that said, we're going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we'll have 4 movies to look at, including the horror sequel Child's Play 2. We also have The Craze. We have this year's Oscar winner for Best Picture, and that would be Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves. And we also have the return of Superfly. So we'll look at all 4 of those movies next time around. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another new episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, take care.